Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the April 7th Sunday service. You know, I was always looking at my calendar this morning. I realized that the last time I spoke here at this podium was 5 months ago in November. You can't get away from me, you guys. You know, time sure flies as we are now in the spring season. But you would have never thought it was, as it seemed like winter was last Thursday. I mean, it was so freezing, along with the thunder and lightning and the hailstorm. But the Dharma teaches us that life conditions are constantly changing, and we just have to adapt to it. But I am very grateful for the added moisture that will help sustain us throughout the year. 3 weeks ago, our temple hosted the Hironaka family from Lahaina in Maui. A great big thank you to Yuki Sugahara Sensei and the various temple organizations and individuals, temple members, who helped to bring them to Sacramento. It was very heartening to see our temple try to help the family in our own way as they deal with trying to rebuild their lives as well as their temple complex. Our best wishes go out to the Hironaka family. As I looked out into the Sangha during that Sunday service with Reverend Hironaka, the scene brought back memories of when the Sacramento Buddhist Temple was packed during the 1960s. In its heyday, the Hondo was packed every Sunday with standing room only crowds in the back rooms. There were so many adults and kids attending Sunday service that the ministers had to perform 2 services. I remember as a kid when we sat in the Hondo, we had to sit by class in the same pew. And because we kids were so loud during service, parents would patrol the Hondo, would walk around the edges and to the back. And I remember there was one particular individual. I don't know if you remember him. He passed away a while back. Joe Tahara was a policeman for the Sacramento City Police. And I tell you, just the look on his face and the demeanor of his body made everybody pretty quiet. But little did I know how important it was to have the Hondo quiet so that we could hear and appreciate the service and, more importantly, pay our respects. 60 plus years ago, many of the Buddhist Churches of America ministers came from Japan, not knowing the English language. And as they struggled to give their Dharma talks in English, most of the students, including myself, had difficulty understanding their messages. 50 years later, when I became a minister's assistant, that is when I understood the difficulties of putting together a Dharma message, let alone trying to speak another language, a foreign language. And from that enlightening realization, I now draw inspiration from those older generation ministers and have the deepest respect and appreciation for their efforts in spreading Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. The one thing I clearly remember back in my younger days was my frustration with the ministers talking about Buddhist wisdom and compassion without explaining what wisdom and compassion really meant. It wasn't until Reverend Bob Oshta came along to explain what wisdom and compassion meant, which was simply the 2 I's, impermanence for wisdom and interdependence for compassion. And in today's message, I want to talk a little more about compassion and how it applies to our lives. The Dharma teaches us that compassion is about wishing for others to be free from suffering based on our understanding of what other people are feeling, again, based on our shared and similar experiences in dealing with life's challenges. Although our ability to help may be limited, we try to do what we can. Compassion opens our hearts and minds so that we can think about others, and in doing so, break out of our lonely, self-imposed confines of the ego self that just focuses on me. Through the mindfulness of effort, the acts of compassion give us the inner strength and self-confidence to do the right thing in promoting positivity for others. We evolve as human beings when we are helping others, and through those efforts, we are then able to understand empathy, hope, and courage as we face our own challenges. According to the Dalai Lama, we need compassion and human affection to survive, as they are the ultimate sources for success in life. At every level of society, familial, local, state, national, and international, the key to a happier and more successful world is the growth and spread of compassion. With sincere and open hearts from our compassionate acts, we can feel self-worth and confidence with no fear of others. These feelings will result in openness, respect, and cooperation, which will in turn promote universal responsibility for the human race and allow humanity to continually develop in order to become better and ensure the survival of our planet. And when I talk about compassion, I also think about its cousin, kindness. Kindness is defined as an act of sympathy for others and having a desire to do good for them. Love and integrity are the driving forces behind the virtue of kindness, and with them, we develop moral principles that help us to distinguish between right and wrong. Kindness and compassion enable us to progress on our spiritual path to overcome suffering in this world as we seek the final destination of enlightenment. An article entitled "Being Thoughtful" beautifully explains the additional benefits of kindness. It reads in part, "Kindness is about giving of yourself with no expectation of receiving anything in return. Kindness is not always about being nice or friendly. It is about being aware of others and knowing our interactions have a profound impact on those we touch. Spreading kindness has a positive ripple effect. When we are kind to someone, we experience the helper's high. Serotonin contributes to a rise in our happiness. Our blood pressure drops. Our body releases oxytocin, which is a love and bonding chemical that boosts our cardiovascular system, and our body makes endorphins, which is a natural painkiller. The act of kindness makes our mood more positive, increases our confidence. Kindness shifts from a focus on me, where it is easy to be consumed by personal problems, to the focus on we, as both the receiver and giver share a collective experience in addressing the problems and challenges of life. The act of kindness allows us to live in the moment, the present, not thinking about the past or the future. Kindness is contagious. We can embrace it as it stimulates a feel-good chemistry in everyone and allows for both the receiver and giver to simultaneously feel good about being a human being. End of article. Kindness, combines the highest qualities of selflessness, friendliness, generosity, and consideration for others. Kindness does not require a need for a response of thank you, nor an implied debt owed by the receiver. How many times have you done something for someone just out of the goodness of your heart, and the feeling you felt in return was uplifting and fulfilling, the purest form of kindness? Also, when we receive acts of kindness, the lessons of how to treat and care for others are being reinforced upon us. When we truly understand the meaning of Buddhist compassion and kindness,